So I had somebody on Twitter hit me up and ask me about certain guys, kind of in the draft or offensive tackles, right? And this has been something what we kind of conversated about going in the off season. What were we looking for? Okay, and I see a lot of people doing mock drafts and stuff now, right? Everybody's shooting their mock drafts out and whatnot. And I'm kind of I've looked at pretty much the top maybe 8 to 10 tackles that's been projected. And I'm sitting there looking, I'm just like, hey man, there's some really talented guys, man, but I wouldn't spend a first round pick on any of those guys. Nothing against them. I just think as far as what we're looking for, I think that we're looking for day one ready to come play and make an impact. Right? I mean, I think at this point in this moment in history, or this time, we're looking for an immediate player to come in and to take that job. And so, kind of like I've said before, and also Jeff was saying, maybe draft is not the way to go. Great G picks a Gray Zabel as the dude to draft. I watched him. He's an athletic guy. He's more, they say, swing tackle. I seen him in Senior Bowl. They moved him inside, playing a lot of. They moved him all over the place. So he's a guy that is very talented. Plays a lot of different things, different ways, and so he's someone that, without a doubt, could fit into your room. He can play a lot of different positions because he's one of those that is that talented and athletic. But to come in and play and be an immediate impact, I don't know. Your daughter wants you to show you. Oh, okay. Real quick, I'm just going. So my daughter wants me to show. She cooked this nice black bean burger. Is what she did. Yeah.
They're teasing you.
Yeah, plantain chips and stuff. I know. See how they do?
Yeah. Looks good. It looks good. They're teasing you, JD. They're teasing you. They know you're hungry, you haven't eaten yet, and they want to get you some food.
The aroma coming through. But going back to him, I tell you, man, he's a very talented guy. But I wouldn't take him. He wouldn't be a first round pick or second round pick for me. He wouldn't be. I say the guy that I like, but he's hurt now, is Josh Simmons from Ohio State.
Yep.
No question about it. No question about it. And because he has that injury, it kind of set him back because he said he'll probably be ready by training camp, right? It's like, okay, he's going to be ready for training camp, for the season and stuff start. He'd be the only one. He would be the only one. And I'm looking over, well, what is, the percentage of him doing the same injury again or being the same player he was before the injury, right? And so because he had, I think it was patella tendon tear, what it was, Marcus, they were saying that he may lose a little bit from what he had before. They were just saying that was one of the things that wasn't as I don't know, as positive of an injury. But hey, man,
Well, the thing about Simmons, which I've read, is if he does if there is kind of like they get new reports, and as the combine and pro days begin, once they realize he's going to be ready by training camp, they say he'll go shoot up the charts, and it'll be like probably in the teens or early 20s that he would probably go. And that's like we don't have that many draft picks this year compared to the years past. We're going to trade a lot of draft picks to go up to get a guy who is still coming off an injury. And, we don't know if he's, again, it's a crap. I know that as much as we love the draft, it's a crapshoot, right? A lot of people thought Kingsley was going to be ready day one, which we never thought so. But you're ready day one, and he's not. And it's like, FAU, we thought he'd be the guy by now, or a guy rotationally. He hasn't really shown that yet. So if you're going to trade up for a guy you're going to have to make your left tackle, and you're going to trade a couple of draft picks for it, that's scary, especially a guy who's coming off an injury.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, it's going to be somebody who is in that space of almost being desperate for a left tackle, somebody that you can develop, you got time to do. Now, if you're developing a team, you're trying to get there, and you might be 2 or 3 years away. He sounds like a great pick. perfect pick for you, right? Can he come here and do it immediately here with the Chiefs is a question. I don't know that. That's why I say, and I do believe our best road is the free agency. Or maybe getting somebody in the house, like I said, DJ Humphries, and seeing where those guys are. I know we say Alaric Jackson. We were saying who's up, Cam.
That's my wish list. If I had my druthers, I would go Cam Robinson. 28 years old. I mean, we saw what he did with Minnesota this year. I mean, they had one of the best passing attacks in the league. And like we talked about last week, Trey Smith's numbers and metrics are great, but he's not really a guard for the passing game. He's more of a run game kind of mauler type of guy, and we're not that offense for him. Cam Robinson's shown being the left tackle in a team that likes to throw the ball like the Vikings did this past year. He showed he can be a left tackle in that kind of offense, and I think that kind of suits well for us. And also, I like the aspect of bringing another Jacksonville Jaguars tackle. Cam Robinson on the left side and Jawaan Taylor on the right side. Trevor Lawrence had one of his best years with those two guys as his tackles. So,
Yeah, no, I've seen it, man. Nice little brotherhood. But what's it going to cost? That's the question. What is
projected salary according to Spot Track is around 3 years annually about 14 a year for him, which actually isn't. I mean, what's Jawaan Taylor making right now annually? I mean, I think that's pretty good actually.
Yeah, I mean it's projected. When a sucker gets in behind them closed doors, I want more. Is what I want. I want more. So, see, Sanjay Guess is right with me. I agree with Humphries. Give him a full offseason. I think, man, to me that seems like a solid, decision to make. Especially have a guy that's here who's not going to break the bank. Who's played at a high level, and you give him a whole offseason, sure. I said, do it where you give him like 2 years. That way you have him for at least 2, right? These 1 year deals because you got to do it all over again, or you're waiting for a guy to develop. You still waiting, or you waiting for King Suma to do that? Or if you do get a guy in the draft and you say, hey, look, we're going to have DJ Humphries here, and you can get ready and all those different things. There's a lot of different ways to go. A lot of different ways to go. So,
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind the DJ Humphries signing to give him, and I don't think he's going to break the bank at all. Like that's kind of the beauty about him. He's probably not going to break the bank. And we're talking about what we've been saying as far as like, what are we going to spend on this offseason? If Patrick Mahomes does restructure, I think that would give us about like $30 million to spend this offseason. I mean, if we aren't going to, the reason why I say Cam Robinson, especially if this is projection, I know it's projections, right? So let's say it's around $15 million a year for him. You're not really spending money on a lot of stuff. Cam Robinson would be the one to kind of spend that to get a left tackle you have to worry about for at least a couple of years, 3 years. He's 29 right now, not 28. I misspoke. 29 years old, which is young for a left tackle. You have him for 3 years. You don't have to worry about the left tackle spot for 3 years. And this is something we've been talking about every year, right? Even when we had Orlando Brown, we were talking about, are we going to pay him this offseason? What are we going to do beyond that? Like, I don't want to deal with the left tackle spot for a long time. If you do get this guy, like Cam Robinson, who's proven to be a good left tackle, you don't think about it. DJ Humphries, while it's a good move, it's still a question mark, right? We don't know if he'll get back to his full health, but we're not paying an arm and a leg for him. That's the beauty about that too.
Exactly. And so the thing is, because you still have guys here if it doesn't work out, but I don't see anything that shows that it wouldn't. And especially if you have a whole off season, then you have some time to make a decision as far as like what you do, which way to go. So let's say DJ Humphries here and everything's going well, and it's like, okay, it doesn't look like there's going to be any type of setbacks. Makes perfect sense. He's been here in the system, right? He's learned the guys. He's gotten acclimated to what we do. Guys have graciously him into our offense and in our whole culture. Man, and when you hear him talk, man, he's as professional as you get. That's the guy that you want. So I love banking on veterans. I do. And especially a guy that has something to prove, who's trying to absolutely revamp his career. Makes perfect sense to me. So
what do you think? I mean, based on what you've seen about, because I know you have free agency as tackle as number one. What do you think about the guys like Cam Robinson or Alaric Jackson? Like, forget about price tag. What is your just honest assessment of them and how they would be in our offense as a left tackle?
I mean, I think they're both good tackles. You know, I think they're really good tackles. You know, and we say our offense because what our offense has comprised over the past few years. But what I'm also banking on too, Marcus, is Andy and those guys saying, hey, I hope we learn from what we did. We learn. Well, what does that mean? Hopefully, what's that mean is we're going to run the football a little bit more. Hopefully, that's it. Maybe, you know, we get some a little bit more protection. I heard it all today. I heard talking to several people. Now we were talking about the Eagles and the Chiefs game. Oh, we didn't think nobody. I'm like, man, nobody thought it was going to be like that. Just couldn't protect them. So, yeah, man, they have to learn from what has kind of been our Achilles heel is leaning so much more into the pass game that we don't even attempt to run the football, which as talented backs as we have, we absolutely got to implement into what we do. You have to, man. I mean, you got to make a team cover the entire field. Running the football is something that's vital to your success. I don't think you can get away from it in this league. You can't. So,
yeah, I mean, if you look at the tackles we're talking about, right? I mean, Humphries was a Pro Bowler when he was healthy. Alaric Jackson, great left tackle and a really good offense with the Rams. Cam Robinson, a good tackle with the Jaguars during that prime of or one of the better years for Trevor Lawrence. Leonard Fournette had some good years with Cam Robinson as well. And then obviously in Minnesota this past year. So, there are good. All these guys have shown flashes of being good elite left tackles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I would say Cam Robinson and DJ Humphries have shown a little bit more than Alaric Jackson. Alaric Jackson's only got really 1 year of being a guy, so I would call him elite.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, he's good. So that's the thing. You hang your hat on a guy like that, what are you paying and what are you not paying? So, I mean, to get a legitimate guy, that's hard and tough to do, speak guys out of it. But I don't know. It's one of those things, man. And we said, oh, thanks, babe. Ooh, do a little change. Look at us.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
Thank you, baby. Thank you. But something that we're definitely looking to upgrade. But you definitely need a guy. You have to. You want to solidify your line. You got to start there, Marcus. You have to. That's got to be a top priority for us. This off season. It really does. So, but that's why I say priorities, right? Priorities. Let me get how we get over here. Okay, priorities, right? Tackle, defensive line, corner, wide receiver, tight end. There we go in that order for me. So.
And look, I mean, I think the draft needs to be like, I know people talk about offensive tackle, but I think you and I are on the same page. First 2 rounds of this draft, you go best available D end or D tackle, and that's it. You go those two positions. I don't care if it's D tackle round 1 or D end round 1. Those are where you need to go, and that's where the kind of the value is where we pick. D tackle from first to second round, even I think early third, you're seeing some of the best D tackles in there. And I've seen the guy from Kentucky. He's kind of fallen a lot. For some reason, he's fallen off a little bit. It's going to third round, and some of the mock drafts from some of these draft experts, I don't know. But if you can get him in the third round, we have two picks in the third round, an early one too. So like you can get him in the third round. Hey, go 2 D tackles in this draft. I'd love that. I mean, heck, as we talked about last week on this show, we have a lot of D linemen who are free agents. So we really need to rebolster that room, and this is the way to do that. And this is the draft to do that in the trenches, at least defensively. So.
I think Walker, kind of talking about him, he's maybe his film was lacking a little bit that pop and that funk that he had last year, the year before his junior year, because he came back because everybody was thinking he was going to be coming out that draft then, his junior year, because he kind of just came and dominated. He was killing folks out there. I think this past year was kind of up and down. The season was kind of so-so. But he was not saying he wasn't dominant, but they were saying like, hey man, you got to be consistent. So you start questioning who a guy is. That's what teams are evaluating. You can't have up and down year. We have guys like that. 1 year you want to work, next year you don't. Which one are you? Who are you going to be? Who's the real you? Take the mask off, right? That's what it is, man. Sometimes in these drafts, and I'm glad we talked to Mike Boyle last week. Wasn't that a great conversation, dude? Oh my gosh. And just talking about getting guys ready and prepared. Who's the guy? What is he? Who is he really? And so Mike was talking about, look, we're getting prepared for, the draft. Their job is do the homework to make sure this is the guy that you're drafting. Yeah, he can be a workout warrior. Yeah, he'll come in and do 225, 34 times. Yeah, he'll run a 4, tackles, D tackles, a 4.8, 5, or 4.7 something, 38-inch vertical. But what type of work is he on the field? What are you getting in between when he's off the field and when he's on? Is he going to work all the time? Is he going to quit? Is he saying he's going to say? I've heard people, look, I've had debates. I'm just going to say it. I've had debates, really talking about Chris Jones. Some people felt like Chris, at times was a little lazy. I'm just like, first off, Chris is getting double teamed practically more than anybody else in the league. Okay. They could go check out and look that up. I said, but the man's worn out. He's worn out. He's been getting worn out. So we start getting little nicks here and there and stuff. Like to me, it makes sense to take care of a guy like that. And the guys, look, Turk stepped out beautifully this past year. He did. Mike Pennell did a great job coming in and giving you some stuff like the run stopper, like we knew he could with the biggest arms in the league, the pythons, if you will. But yeah, Chris, hey man, he's getting beat up in the inside. And the thing is, refs ain't calling it on him. He get held all the time. Refs don't. Devontae Green Bees, he needs some help. Yeah, refs don't help him. They talking about calls. They never get Chris Jones calls. Never.
That's the one thing. It's a narrative that a lot of people talk about. I see a lot, and I still see it. People are upset that we paid Chris Jones over L'Jarius Sneed, which I've seen a lot. This all I've seen crazy, but yeah, I've seen a lot of Chiefs fans still say, yeah, we should have paid Sneed and let Jones walk. But the one thing too, it's like a narrative I've seen a lot. It's like, oh man, that guy comes off the field more than anybody. He's always coming off the field. He's always off the field. It's like, well, because he's getting triple teamed, quadruple teamed all game long. He's exhausted. So maybe if you do get a guy like Walker or a top DT in this draft, he won't maybe come off the field that much because he won't be getting triple teamed because they can't triple team him because he has, they have to worry about multiple guys in that D line, especially right there in the trenches, right there in the middle. So like you get a guy that takes away from having to see Jones come off the field all the time because he's exhausted. I mean, I think that's Absolutely. What you need.
Right. And if a guy like Walker falls to us, like later on, shoot, take him. Absolutely take him. Getting him here over in with the Chiefs and this culture, right beside the Chris Jones, man, it'd change his outlook on everything. I'm telling you, he'll be a whole different player. And so, like Mike was saying, and I've said before, man, it's like once you get over in the league, you got to learn how to work. You got to learn how to be in, man. You got to learn how to make a difference. So,
yeah, I did a mock draft the other day. Tyreek Williams came to our first round pick. I went with him. Second round, I forgot where I went. I think I went running back. I think I went Judkins from Ohio State in the second round, and then third round, Walker was there, and I was like, you know what? I mean, Eagles do it, and they have one of the best defensive lines almost every year. Yeah. I went Walker there. Now, some people may say that's a little bit overkill going too much D tackles, but not really. We don't really have anybody. If we don't re-sign Turk Wharton, Pennell, all these other guys, it's really Chris Jones and then everyone else. There's no other D tackles in that room, so we do need to replace the D room to go Tyreek Williams and Walker. Got two guys like that, two stout guys. That'd be amazing. I'd be so. You and I would be throwing a parade if we got those guys.
Yeah. Having he can't have too many great defensive tackles, and I've seen us fall victim to it against our O-line. I've seen our O-line get absolutely beat up against that. A good defensive line. Shoot, Bengals had a great defensive line, and they would give us fits. Who's that, man? They just got rid of old dude, man, that wouldn't play here at Louisville. I know he played at Louisville. Can't think of his name.
BJ Hill?
No. Man, who did the shoot?
D tackle?
D tackle, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, Sheldon Rankins.
Sheldon, right? Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Big Sheldon. Yep. So, he is he some of those that you pick up. I didn't really go and watch him too much this year. Did he make too much of a difference? But I think, man, once you have a very talented, formidable, dangerous D line, it just makes it tough for everybody. It helps out the secondary, helps out your linebackers, helps out everybody. It's your first line of defense. So if I'm coming in, man, I'm coming with the big boys that's going to absolutely beat you up. So we can look at this last Super Bowl, and we seen they brought 4. That was it. No blitzes, Marcus. They ain't blitzes. None of that. Now, obviously, we were down guys. Joe Tooney had to move out the left tackle. That's what we had to regulate to. But still shouldn't have mattered. They shouldn't have been as dominant as they were. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, it'll make life easier for the edge rushers. If he did get the dudes we're talking about in this draft, Tyler Williams, and the dude from Kentucky, it's like you have guys like that. It makes life easier for the guys on the edges because maybe FAU may not be a 12-sack guy, but having those dudes in the middle right there, being able to do a lot, Karlovsky can be a 15-sack guy. FAU can come on and do his thing. Mike Danek can contribute more. It makes life easier for everybody because they got to worry about all that action in the middle. I mean, it'd be
right.
Such an amazing problem to have.
Yeah, you got one-on-one all day. You just know you got to beat your guy. You beat your guy on the outside, man. You'll make it. Sure, you use that. You can use stunts and twists with a guy on the inside who takes 2 guys. Let him pull the guard your way. You come on in underneath. Hey, you right there in the quarterback face. Sure, thank me later for it. That's what you say. Hey, thank me later. Okay, it's a stunt. Thank me later. So,
yeah, yes, I wouldn't be mad at all if they went 2 D tackles in this draft, just because the value is there. And when I was looking at the 3rd round, there was a lot of great defensive tackles, guys who they're saying this defensive tackle class is so good that guys who are going in the 3rd round in this draft probably would have been 1st or 2nd in last year's draft. And that's the value of this draft, which is I think they need to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And that's why Bengals are probably cutting bait with guys like Sheldon Rankins, because they see the draft coming up here. They see the D line depth. They're like, you know what? We don't need to be paying this guy that money. Let's go get it. Let's go get a rook who's gonna be cost control for the next few years.
Everybody's on it. Why wouldn't you? Right? Especially if you can save money instead of going free agent and getting a guy that's wanting $25 million a year. Hold on for a second. Let's go get this rookie over here, right?
Yeah.
The draft. So.
Which honestly, that might bode well for us. Maybe bringing back Turk Warden, because if it is such a good DT class, guys like that, teams won't be spending for a defensive tackle because they'll be getting their guy in rounds 1 through 4 because of how deep it is. So that actually may bode well for us as far as being able to get some of these guys back that are leaving.
I agree with you 1,000%.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.